And blessed to be a part of your day. Kevin Miller in the morning on KIDO Talk Radio. Don't forget, coming up, it is the Boise Music Festival. That is this Saturday. Are you fired up about Parmalee, Robin Thicke, all those great acts? Can't wait to see you the 9th Annual Boise Music Festival. Just to remember how many years ago it was when Bret Michaels launched the first Boise Music Festival, and the history continues, the fun continues, and we can't wait to see you this Saturday at Expo Idaho. Phone numbers here, 580-5436, 580-KIDO. And one thing that we do want to talk to you about is safety. And certainly safety is on all our minds here in the summer. They call it, the 100th deadliest days of the year. Let me try that again. The 100th, the 100 deadliest days of the year, if you will. When we're talking about summer driving, when we're talking about going on vacation, whether it's to McCall on Highway 55, as I like to call it, the highway of death, or just commuting around the Treasure Valley. And this is a story that is non-political. This is a story that is nonpartisan and impacts all of us. And you just heard Doug talk about it. The Cloverdale Overpass closed indefinitely after this deadly wreck over the weekend. 7 vehicles, 2 people to the hospital. The damage to the overpass is big, and we'll see what happens. People are talking about, being inconvenienced and the like. But, folks, we have to do something about driver safety in these parts. And the police can't do it on their own. And you remember driver's ed, or maybe you're having a refresher course with your kid. Drive defensively. Look out for others. How many of us really do that? How many of us really look both ways? Heck, whether you're at Freddy's or Winco or what have you. How many people sit back and, look before they cross the street? That's probably the biggest the biggest learning curve that I had here is people don't even look when they cross the street, when they're in parking lots. I get that the pedestrian has the right of way, but the pedestrian is small compared to the car. I was driving into one of the Fred Meyer stores, and this woman who had a stop sign and I didn't just pulled out in front of me in her blue Corvette, almost sideswiped, almost T-boned the T-Mazda Drive for Excellence in Education Subaru. And then she flipped me the bird. And I looked at her and I'm thinking to myself, I'm sorry, madam, but I don't have a stop sign. I have the right of way. I was making a left turn. She wanted to keep going. The car in front had gone before me. So she naturally assumed I was going to stop. There was no stop sign. There is no common sense on the roads these days. Now, we can blame the aggressive driving from folks moving in. We can blame people on their phones. Another point, on Myrtle the other day. By the way, we'll take your calls on aggressive driving, 580-5436. 580-KIDO. On Myrtle the other day, I couldn't believe this. Saturday morning, right in front of the overpass there where the X Games were going on. And, wasn't it lovely that the X Games were? Oh, I love the X Games. So there's a guy on his motorcycle. And we're always hearing, look out for motorcycles. Look out for bicycles and bicyclists on bicycles. This guy was on his cell phone texting while riding his motorcycle, looking at the red lights and back and forth. And he was engaged in the texting. It must have been a heck of a message. Exactly. And I'm thinking to myself, what the heck is going on with this guy? Have we devalued, and we've devalued driving so much that we, get on the texting thing, we get on the phone, we get so enamored with it, we think that our vehicles are autonomous, we think that our vehicles are self-driving even when they're not. And now, unfortunately, we have this tragedy that could have been avoided. I remember many years ago, a similar situation happened to me in another state where you have this big thoroughfare that goes through the entire state of Alabama, Highway 65. There was a guy who was driving a fuel truck, Tim Dyson, remember it to this day. He was cut off, and instead of hitting this car, he slowed down his fuel truck. It cost him his life. It blew up the bridge, blew up the interstate, The thing was closed for miles upon miles upon miles. He left behind his family, his wife, his kids. Yeah, we renamed a bridge after him, but it was because somebody was aggressively driving, just weaved in and out and cut the guy off. Now, we don't know the details of this, and we'll hear a report coming up next from our friends, our news partners at Channel 7, but, even driving in today, in these hours, the zombie hours, you have people that are overly aggressive. I don't know what's the cause of it. And really, Channel 7 a few years ago, with the CEOs of all these major corporations, did this Don't Text and Drive campaign, and then it stopped. Maybe it's texting. No, it's not maybe this. It's a collection of everything. That we become so empowered with our own being that we forget about others. And I know that the pulpit is for Sunday, but isn't that what it comes to when we're talking about aggressive driving? At 580-5436, 580-KIDO.
They say a commercial semi-truck and an SUV were traveling eastbound when they slowed for construction traffic. That's when they say a second semi hit them both from behind, and then 4 other cars were involved, making it a 7-vehicle crash. 4 people lost their lives in the accident. The Ada County coroner has not yet released their names, and it could take days to have that information. Mountain Home Air Force Base said in a news release Monday that 3 of the people involved in the accident were airmen stationed in Mountain Home. It's not clear if they are among the dead. A spokesman for the Idaho Transportation Department says Saturday night's construction was planned routine maintenance.
There are cement pavers that make up the interstate, and between each paver we have a sealant that goes in there. It helps the concrete to expand and contract with temperature swings. What the work being done there and throughout parts of the interstate is to have those joints resealed.
ITD says they have safety protocols and put up signs to make people aware of the construction. KTVB got multiple calls and messages from people on the road that night who say there wasn't enough signage. I asked ITD if their protocols were followed that night, and they were not able to give me an answer at this time. After the wreck, ITD inspectors found the Cloverdale overpass had significant fire damage and determined it's not safe to travel over. So it's closed indefinitely.
We're going to secure funding for the repair itself. We're drawing up plans for repairing that section of road. And then we need to go out for bid to have a contractor actually make those repairs. So that whole thing may take up to several months.
Well,
and there we have it. We can blame ITD. We can blame aggressive driving. It really comes down to safety, security, and comfort. And how safe, how comfortable do you feel on the roads of the Treasure Valley? I know it's early. You're thinking to yourself, Kevin Miller, I don't know how scary this is going to be this morning. But at 580-5436, 580-KIDO, how do you curb this aggressive driving? How do you stop these folks from weaving in and out? Now, we had talked about, and I believe before the legislature, there were some type of new laws that were going to go into effect when we're talking about texting and driving. People blaming kids, and we do see kids on the road doing this. On the other hand, when we're taking a look at the roads, it's not just the kids, it's the adults, it's everything else, right? Do we really trust ourselves, or do we trust the police? You heard the story from Doug saying that the police are going to try and educate, or going to try and ticket. Here's another one. Here's my favorite, which scares the heck out of me. When you're at a 4-way stop, or the light turns green, and then it goes yellow, and we all race to get through the 4-way stop, right? We all race to get through it. And what happens next? Boom. Or somebody runs a red light at an intersection. These things could have been avoided, and your life is changed forever. That's what it comes down to. So I'd love to hear from you about that. It's a non-political, non-partisan story. Sure, we can talk about immigration. Sure, we can talk about the IG report, and we will get to that today. We've got a lot of newsmakers lined up. However, when we're talking about getting to and from work, to and from school, with the construction, and there's another thing, there's a ton of construction going on that impacts us each and every day, right? So I'd love to get some road reports next. It is 6:15. You're listening to Kevin Miller on KIDO Talk Radio. Plus, to be a part of your day, 619, currently 54 in Meridian. Kevin Miller in the morning. Phone number is 580-5436. 580-KIDO. Coming up, the immigration policy continues to get a lot of folks fired up, making accusations back and forth, saying that the President of the United States is using children to prove a political point. Do you really believe that? Do you really believe that? And then you have people just using this to exploit their own agenda. And quite frankly, these kids have been coming to the border. What parent in their right mind leaves their kid unaccompanied or comes to America when they know what's going to happen here? Conservatives and liberals going crazy. By the way, if you're just tuning in, talking about driving, the ramifications, the consequences of the Cloverdale overpass being shut down after the big accident on 84. And you have people saying, well, maybe it was ITD. Maybe it was, people going too fast. This has to stop. Are you going to be an agent of change? Or are we just going to sit on our hands and go, thank goodness I wasn't driving around that night? Liberal Steve joins us now on KIDO Talk Radio. Good morning, Liberal Steve.
Buenos dias, Idaho. Miller, there's no way we're going to change our habits, change who we are, change our thinking. I mean, every movie we go to is about cars racing or aggressiveness, assertiveness. People don't get enough sleep. They listen to talk shows to get them all riled up while they're driving.
I think if more people listen to talk shows, they would be better informed, they would be more tempered, and have much better judgment. I would blame the people listening to music with the hip-hop bibbity-bops and the guitar riffs and the aggressiveness, not talk shows.
We're not down with the ladies. Yeah, but what's going to solve it, Miller, is evolution in the future. I mean, smart cars can't get in accidents. Well, they can now because they're being refined and worked on, but the future is a brain other than our own taking over the wheel because we're an emotional brain. We work and we think with emotions, where an electronic device is just, statistical and facts. So that will definitely solve it. I know it will, in fact. So
you're trusting a machine.
Oh, absolutely. I would trust a machine. I mean, come on. I fly with pilots right up front sometimes, and they put it on computer, and we fly for 3 hours on a computer. Then the other thing, which is ridiculous, like Trump going to Washington and draining the swamp, they need to drain the swamp at Idaho Motor Vehicle or Transportation Department. Why it takes 6 months to repair and fix that thing is ridiculous. You get somebody on it right now. You tell them, this is when I want it done. This is the money you're going to get for it, and you're going to do it right. Get going now. I can't believe you're not done yet. You don't sit for 6 months and let traffic go nuts. Come on. Ridiculous, I tell you. I just want to slap somebody.
The words of our friend Lori Otter from back in the day.
Yeah, Miss the governor's wife. Yeah, Lori Otter, rodeo queen.
You remember her?
Anyway, yeah, I remember her. You stay fired up, Miller, and you make it happen. But yeah, it's never.
So wait a minute. You've actually talked for 2.5 minutes, and you've said actually nothing.
Like your talk show. You're like Seinfeld, man. You go on and on and on about nothing. We never solve anything. Nothing ever happens. The only good thing about your talk show is when you save people at the mission. Anyway, you stay fired up, Miller. I love you. I love your show. I love Cindy. I love R&R.
Yes.
I love people.
Yeah, we love you. All right, 6:23, traffic and weather together. Let's go to Matt in Caldwell with Kevin Miller at KIDO Talk Radio. Good morning, Matt.
Hi, Kevin. I just wanted to comment on the driving bit on the Cloverdale overpass and stuff. What I have been seeing, because I'm a professional driver, I've had a CDL for well over 10 years, and I'm seeing a lack of training. There seems to be a lot of people that just don't know how to drive. So I think we need to change the format of how people are educated in driving. I think it probably need to be maybe longer or more stricter rules in the education proceedings to make it a more safer environment on the road. I don't know how many times I've seen people not even use their turn signals when making a lane change or not even giving enough time. They just make that right-hand turn or left-hand turn without even thinking about it. And that is a huge issue on the traffic. If you're not giving any information of what you're going to do, how is everybody else going to know what to expect? Like the truck driver. A lot of the times when you know you're coming up to a traffic condition, the first thing you're supposed to do is turn on your four-way flashers to let everybody behind you, hey, something's going on ahead of you, you need to slow down. Did that truck driver ever use his four-way flashers? Was there even any time? I don't know. I didn't see the accident. But that's one of the things that a CDL driver is supposed to do in emergency situations, or if they know that they are coming to a stop on the freeway. Another thing, there's a lot of people on the freeway. I have no idea why. That left-hand lane, they seem to just love to stop in it when they see an accident or something that's clear off to the right-hand lane that's not even prevalent to them. Looky-loos. We got to do something about the looky-loos. It's getting ridiculous. If you can't keep traffic moving, there will be accidents. There was one morning I came by on the westbound side of traffic. There was 5 accidents in a row just because 3 officers had people pulled over in the right-hand lane.
Wow.
Yeah, it's bad. We need to train people on how to drive. For some reason, they just get so drowned in that the first reaction they do is hit their brake. Big mistake. If you can't figure out how to drive smoothly with traffic, then you are the hazard. That's just what I wanted to tell you in the morning. I think we just need some more training out there. We could throw every law in the book out there, but it comes right down, how can you train the person better?
I'm with you. Not only training, though, but attention to detail.
Yes.
And I think that's solely missing. And, you know, again, I'm getting ready to go on the connector. There's this guy on this motorcycle. He's literally has his one arm on the handlebars. The other hand is texting while he's riding a motorcycle.
Yeah. I've seen him on cruise control, because motorcycles you can get a cruise control for a motorcycle. And I've seen a guy racing down the freeway with 2 hands on his phone on his motorcycle.
Well, Matt, again, that comes down to it. We're just endangering ourselves. You know, the solution is, I guess, it comes down to policing ourselves, right? Yeah.
I mean, well, you can police yourselves all you want, but in the same sense, it's going to be a tattletale situation where people are going to start reporting you. That's the sad part.
Matt, thank you, and thank you for being safe on the roads, brother.
Thank you.
All right, Matt and Caldwell, a professional driver. Love the truck drivers. Think they do an outstanding job. And certainly keeping those big rigs. It is an underappreciated skill, in my opinion, especially when you have these trucks that have, 1 or 2 loads, and then some of them with 3. That's crazy. That's crazy. And these men and women do it each and every day. Kind of good gig, though, once you get the hang of it, I guess. You can listen to the radio, hang out, of course, be ever vigilant. It always amazes me when people are driving and all of a sudden they cut off the semi-tractor trailers, the semi-trucks, and you're thinking, how stupid are you? Maybe that's what we should call this segment. And again, we here in the mountain, we mountain people, we don't like it, to get confrontational, to call people names. But, I mean, the segment should be, how stupid are we? Or how stupid are you when you cut off a big truck that can cost people lives and cost people their lives. So who knows what happens? I love how was it ITD? Well, maybe it was people should have driven slower. And we've all done this. We've all done this, right? At 580-5436, 580-KIDO. People are driving too slow. Come on! And then we pass them, and what happens? Oh, it's a red light, and they're right behind us. Whether it's on Chinden or wherever else, right? Common sense. Speaking of common sense, has the country lost It's common sense when we're talking about immigration. Details on that story, plus your calls next with me. Thank you for starting your day with us. You're listening to Kevin Miller on KIDO Talk Radio. Good morning, Doug.
Good morning, Kevin.
And welcome. Our time is 6:35. Don't forget that Glenn Beck today at 9. Phone number's here, 580-5436, 580-KIDO. Are you worried about your taxes? Well, coming up, our friend Tanya J. Powers will join us with the very latest on taxes, and you might be paying more than you think. Plus, don't forget, coming up Tuesday, a week from today, it is the 52nd annual Treasure Valley God and Country Festival. That's right, Chuck Connors of the Riflemen started these God and Country festivals throughout the country. This is the oldest, it is the longest lasting, and we will be there. And it will be the first fireworks of the season. Now you're thinking to yourself, fireworks? Yeah, fireworks already. Fireworks will be rockin' and rollin', and you'll hear the music to the fireworks only right here on KIDO Talk Radio, 580 AM, 107.5 FM, or as people like to say, 107.5 FM and 580 AM. We will be there. And we're looking forward to that as we wait for Tanya J. Powers. Let's take more of your phone calls. If you're just waking up, 580-5436, 580-KIDO, talking about keeping the roads safe, right? Keeping the roads safe. You've got this big accident, the Cloverdale overpass. It's okay to go under, not okay to use, so that's going to be closed, going to be inconvenient for a lot of folks. And how many accidents in the Treasure Valley could be avoided? 580-5436, 580-KIDO. We'll take your calls on that. And, of course, much more on this controversy on the border as we start your day. We go live to New York. KIDO Talk Radio is your proud home for Fox News Radio. Remember, when you hear Fox News Radio in the Treasure Valley, you're listening to KIDO Talk Radio. Tanya J. Powers to talk about millionaires and taxes. Would you fall into that bracket?
I'm sorry. Was that? Oh, you were serious. Okay.
Well,
not really so much. No, not really so much.
Well, we can always dream.
We can at that.
So when we're looking at millionaire taxes, what are we looking at?
Well, this was an idea, as a proposal that they were going to put on the ballot in Massachusetts, and the Supreme Court in that state has now ruled 5-2, blocking it. It won't be in front of voters later this year. They wanted it on the ballot in November, and it basically would have been what they called the Fair Share Amendment. And for anybody that made any person who had a portion of their income that's over $1 million, it would have tacked a 4% tax on it, which is why it earned the nickname the millionaire's tax.
Yeah, a lot of people at Martha's Vineyard and others would have issues with that, I guess.
Probably. The issue the court had with it was that it said it violated part of the state constitution because ballot questions they can't talk about unrelated subjects. In this case, it was taxing and spending. So they would have, they could have possibly, I guess, worded it a different way where only one of those was mentioned in the actual ballot question, but you can't have both. And that is the reason they said, no, you can't put this on the ballot.
Like I said, a lot of people at the Cape, Martha's Vineyard, other places are a little bummed out. Maybe maybe there already is in California. They've got taxes for everything there, I hear. You never know.
Don't know. But that's another worry that the critics of this, had about it was that they said, well, the wealthy people are going to leave Massachusetts. Now, they would have used this money, by the way, for transportation and education. That's what it was earmarked for. And a lot of people supported it, because it was going to be going to that. But again, you got to word it differently, apparently, if that's what you want to do with it.
Well, you know what they say, education and transportation, of course. You look at some of the education and transportation issues, and you wonder where the money's gone. Here in the state of Idaho, we had a gas tax, implemented again and again. They keep raising it and such, and still the roads, it's those darn roads. People use them all the time.
They do. They tend to use them. We have the same problem here.
Well, you highfalutin folks.
Yeah, with the high tolls to go along with it.
Ooh, that's right, toll roads.
Yeah, lots of those.
Yeah, something almost unique to east of the Great River.
Yeah, I guess so. Now that I think about it, I don't guess there's a whole lot of toll roads.
Not in my country.
Not in your neck of the woods, no.
That's all I have for you today, Tanya J. Powers. We so
All right.
appreciate you. Thank you.
Good to talk to you.
All right, Tanya J. Powers with the latest. So, millionaire tax shot down. That's good news. Is it good news that we're having this immigration debate? I think that it is. I think that finally you have a president that is standing up to the politically correct wah-wahs and saying you can show your images, you can do whatever you want, but there are no more get-out-of-jail-free cards.
We need to be clear. Illegal actions have and must have consequences. No more free passes, no more get-out-of-jail-free cards, no more lawlessness. Today, DHS is referring those who illegally cross our borders to the Department of Justice for prosecution.
And we have it from the Department of Homeland Security. It gets a little heated, and this is the interesting tone. We love Fox News. Fox News, unlike MSNBC, unlike CNN, they welcome all opinions. So yesterday on Outnumbered, you had Jason Chaffetz. You remember him from Utah, former congressman. I'm sure he's thinking to himself during this interchange, did I leave Congress for this? He was on the show Outnumbered, which is 4 women and a man. So they're debating this issue, and all of a sudden it gets into a screaming match, but it is worth the listen, for even conservatives are starting to turn. However, is it our fault that people bring their kids here illegally and are trying to overwhelm the system so much that they want us to fold, they want us to pull an Obama? Or is it their fault because they know they're breaking the law?
To their country of origin and going to the United States Embassy. They shouldn't be crossing all the way through Mexico and putting their whole family in risk.
We need to reform the entire system.
Put up a wall, lock down the...
I want to ask the congressman this question. So the president just moments ago said, this won't be a refugee holding facility. We will not have what they have in Europe on my watch.
That's why the president's trying to build the wall.
So what do we do with the children who are already here?
Well, those are very difficult questions.
That's only one question.
But no, first of all, you got to vet them. Don't be so naive to think that everybody.
How do you vet a child?
Because you've got to make sure that the person
Kennedy
coming
is
across.
laughing. Kennedy,
man, yeah, I'm sure these mini rapists all.
Now, by the way, this show is designed to make the man look like a dope. And you notice everybody cuts off the former congressman who was quite accomplished during his time in Congress. And there are children that have been used by the terrorists. There are children that have been used for trafficking. This goes on all the time. And yet here we have on Fox News these female anchors speaking with contempt at poor Jason Chaffetz for standing up for what's right.
All have bombs strapped to their chest.
No.
Okay,
absolutely.
We're demonizing the wrong people. It becomes so illogical.
You are so naive. I can't believe it.
I am far from naive when it comes to this, but I'm also
so much human trafficking coming across there.
Okay.
Now, here's the problem when we have this in Idaho. There is a lot of human trafficking going on. And by the way, Lisa Kennedy's claim to fame was she was a VJ on MTV. And she had stringy hair. She was from the Pacific Northwest. And she wore weird glasses and said a lot of suggestive and provocative things. How does that get her to be a journalist on the Fox Business Channel? I don't know, but times they are changing. Jason Chaffetz, elected official, from Utah, God-fearing, law-abiding, crime-fighting former congressman. Who are you going to back? I'm going with Chaffetz.
Hey, that's fine. Then you were in Congress for so long, you didn't fix the system either. Democrats can't do it, Republicans can't do it, and now we're strapped with this mess. Okay, and the worst possible outcome is the metric, the visual of parents separated from
kids.
More than
100,000.
See, and here's the skinny. What did you ever do, Lisa Kennedy? What have you ever done? But that's the media. I don't see Kennedy going to the border. I don't see any of this, but you didn't do it. The Democrats don't want this fixed. The Chamber of Commerce does not want this fixed. They want it fixed by having open borders, free labor, and the continued augmenting of the illegal workforce. In other words, we're going to give them subsidies. How? Free medical, because they don't pay. Free education, because they don't pay. And the American worker, the American kid, has seen their standard of living, their hopes, their dreams being eroded away. 580-5436, 580-KIDO. I agree with the president. He's doing the right thing. He's standing up to the press. He's standing up to the liberals. He's standing up to everybody. This is what has to be done. If you don't want your kid taken away from you, and maybe this is overly simplistic, and I apologize in advance, and if you want to correct me, I'd love to hear from you. If you don't want your kid taken away, don't try to break into America. Isn't that the solution to this problem?
Kids have been caught. No, it's not fine. More than 100,000 came across the way. You have to vet them.
No one has the courage to fix it. What does that even mean, vet them?
But we're also not have to understand if they're actually the child of the person that's coming across.
Okay, what does that mean? Doesn't that require a policy?
You don't think that they're bringing drug mules across that are 14 years old? You have to understand who they are first.
Here's the thing as well. The government has not proven that they're good at vetting. They have not put a policy into place yet.
Well, you ought to say amen to that, because that's true, because that's been a problem we've had for a very long time, trying to figure out who's coming here, and even knowing how many we have. Lisa, your head is going to explode.
I really...
Please speak.
Because it's so frustrating sometimes. I feel like we can't have rational debates in this country anymore. Like, people are so...
But you can't have rational debates on this show. Because the media, again, they couldn't get Trump with the Russians. They couldn't get Trump with anything else. So now they're trying to target Donald Trump on this one. Donald Trump was elected to make the tough decisions. Dwight David Eisenhower made the tough decisions. Ronald Reagan made the tough decisions. No, he didn't make any decisions.
Blinded by their hatred for President Trump. I mean, look at the fact
we're hating the people on the other side.
Exactly. I mean, look, if you are crossing the border illegally as a single individual or a family unit, you are still breaking the law. And that is the point of this. And I think the point of the Trump administration policy, are they implementing it perfectly, or is their messaging perfect?
There we have it. 580-5436, 580-KIDO. Is there really a border crisis, or is this much ado about nothing? 580-5436, 580-KIDO. You're listening to Kevin Miller on 580 AM, 107.5 FM, KIDO Talk Radio. And don't forget, coming up, Treasure Valley God and Country Festival. Very pumped up about that. Phone number's here, 580-5436, 580-KIDO. Do you agree with the president's policy concerning the border? That is one topic. Also, going down to what happened on Cloverdale. The overpass is closed. You can go under it. You can't go over it when we're talking about keeping the Treasure Valley safe. We have 4 people confirmed dead after the fiery crash. Mountain Home Airmen, other people doing what they, what everybody wants to do. There's supposed to be an expectation of safety on the roads. There's supposed to be an expectation of security at the border. And now we have people recording children crying, and people are outraged about it. This is nothing more than another shot to derail the president, to make him look bad. But what the press doesn't get, what other people don't get, yes, there is compassion for these families. But as we've said here, if you don't want your kid taken away, then don't enter the country illegally. Don't enter the country illegally. Don't break the laws and do what everybody else does. Obey the law, obey the rules of the road, and you're not going to have an issue. That doesn't get reported by the mainstream media now, does it? That's why what we do here with you is so important, to get the truth out, to get the other side of the story out. 6:54, traffic and weather together. You're listening to Kevin Miller on KIDO Talk Radio. Larry, we appreciate it. Again, 580-5436, 580-KIDO. Are there loopholes when we're talking about the separation of children from their parents when they cross into America illegally? Now, it is taking center stage in the ongoing immigration reform debate. Our own Griff Jenkins takes a look at it here at KIDO Talk Radio.
Those loopholes are important. There's three particularly. The first is the 2008 Trafficking Victims Prevention Reauthorization Act under President George W. Bush. The second is reforming the asylum policies. They say asylum request claims have been up 1,700% over the last decade. And finally, a 1997 Flores settlement that happened under President Bill Clinton that provided for a means for families not to be separated at detention. And part of the reason why Senator Cruz is now the first Republican piece of legislation offering to try and get funding, keyword funding, to keep some families together.
And there we have it. Those are the big local and national stories. We'll continue to keep you updated on those stories as they happen. And let me just tell you about something fun this weekend. It is the Boise Music Festival. We've got probably the best acts that we've ever had. And I know that stuff. Every year they get better. And we started off, believe it or not, if you weren't around, we had Bret Michaels. And you're going, Bret Michaels, really? Well, he just won the Celebrity Apprentice. He had just come off the brain surgery or whatever. Who knows with Bret Michaels, the lead singer of Poison, came in and really kicked off 9 years of entertainment. So this is in our 9th year. We've got Robin Thicke. Now, even if you're not down with the Blurred Lines, that's a huge hit. An all-time classic. That's number one. Number two, you got Parmalee. You've got Echo Smith. You've got all these folks coming in. That is this Saturday, Expo, Idaho. You don't want to miss it. Great deals on tickets. Great deals on VIP stuff at KIDOTalkRadio.com. We sure hope to see you at the Boise Music Festival this Saturday. You're going to love it. Other news of the day coming up, we'll talk to William Geen about the immigration policy, get your reports on that, plus the IG findings get a little heated. Here is Senator Graham and Senator Horowitz going back and forth on the IG report.
Now, this was an email sent in February 2016 from Page to McCabe. Mm-hmm. Hey, you've surely already considered this, but in my view, our best reason to hold the line at 2 and 2 agents and 2 prosecutors, is she might be our next president. How did you feel about that?
We were concerned about it, and we lay out here why we were concerned.
Okay, let's keep talking about this interview. One of the FBI agents in the interview...
Now remember, these are the same folks that said there was no political bias. Here you have the text messages, Lisa Page, the lover of Peter Strzok, saying, we better be careful with her. She could be our next president. That's not a bias. Or we will stop Trump. That's not a bias.
Said on election day to another FBI agent, you should know that I'm with her. Now, her was Clinton, right?
Correct.
How do you feel about that?
Very concerned.
Okay, eventually very concerned gets to be enough already. I'm glad you found what you found, Mr. Horowitz. I'm not buying that the Clinton email investigation was on the up and up.
Now, what you should do, special prosecutor, right? We'll talk about it next. Hey, we're just getting started. Thank you for starting your day with us. You're listening to 107.5 FM, 580 AM, KIDO Talk Radio. Kevin Miller with you. Fox News next.